Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Emily Hiles, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Lance Corporal Hamish Smith. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Bainton West Primary School from Bainton, Western Australia. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. Please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that would help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved. And here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Charles Patten. Charles was born on the 14th of October 1868 in Maiponga, South Australia. He was the youngest of 10 children born to James and Mary Ann Patten, who had immigrated from Ireland to Australia in the mid-1850s. As a child, Charles attended the Grote Street Model School in Adelaide, and after finishing school, Charles found work in Adelaide as a butcher. He also spent 18 months as a member of the Willunga Volunteer Company in the 1890s under the command of Captains Noy and Lipson. By Charles' 45th birthday, he had lost all but 3 of his siblings and both of his parents. He was unmarried and still living in Noarlunga. Charles enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 14th of December 1914 in South Australia. He gave his age as 40 years and 2 months, shaving 6 years off his real age in an attempt to thwart the strict age restrictions in place for volunteers. Although the age restriction was a maximum of 38 years of age, Charles' enlistment was successful. He was assigned to the reinforcements of the 16th Battalion in the rank of private and travelled to Victoria for initial training. Private Charles Patten left Melbourne on the 19th of February 1915 in HMAT Runic. Charles arrived in Egypt in early April 1915 and joined the remainder of the 16th Battalion on Malta in preparation for the landings at Gallipoli. The 16th Battalion landed at Anzac Cove late in the afternoon of the 25th of April 1915 and was quickly thrown into bloody fighting as the Australians attempted to establish their position on the peninsula. On the 3rd of July, Charles was admitted to the 16th Casualty Clearing Station suffering from diarrhoea. 3 weeks later, he was admitted to a hospital ship suffering from rheumatic fever and eye issues and was evacuated to a hospital in Malta. Charles spent the next 2.5 months at St. George's Hospital in Malta before finally being discharged as fit for active service on the 6th of October. After his discharge from the hospital, Charles was sent to Mazarita camp in Egypt outside Alexandria. Around 8 a.m. on the 11th of November, the body of Charles Patten was discovered in the camp mess hut. His body was taken to the 19th General Hospital in Alexandria, where a post-mortem and official inquiry were held. The post-mortem found no signs of struggle and no suspicious circumstances surrounding Charles' death. After hearing reports from 3 witnesses and the doctor who undertook the post-mortem examination, the inquiry determined that Charles had died as a result of acute irritant poisoning, most likely from alcohol consumption. He was 47 years old. Charles's body was buried in Chatby Military and War Memorial Cemetery. His name is also listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Charles Patten, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of our director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.